Hey, it's Dorleen, and I'm continuing my Stamp-tember series, and this is card number 6. The technique I'm doing today is the baby wipe technique, and what you do is you layer about 3 or 4 baby wipes onto a plate or some kind of solid surface. Oh, I just got a notification. Sorry about that. And then what you do is you drip different colors of re-inkers. So in this case, I'm doing greens and yellows and golds on the bottom because that's the leaves that I'm doing. And up on the top will be different kinds of shades of red, pinks for the flower. And the idea is, because you're creating your own ink pad, is you want all of the areas covered. So you just continue to drip colors until there's no white areas. You will notice that I do have a white space between the greens and the pinks, and that's because I really do want to separate those colors, because I want my leaves to be the greenish colors and of course the flowers to be the reddish colors. What I'm showing you right now is a gold re-inker, so I'm putting gold on both the flower and the leaves. So unfortunately, as I'm trying to put ink on the stamp, I realize that this plate is too small. So I pick it up and you'll see my hands become a huge mess, but that's what I love. And I'm just kind of pushing in the colors or the inks on the back of the stamp, and you can tell when it has enough ink. Then I push it down and stamp an image. So look at all that variation of color. Isn't that gorgeous? So I continue to do 3 more of these of the flower. But as I'm going through, that baby wipe, or that pile of baby wipes, it's so juicy with ink that even after I'm done with my 3 images, there's so much left. And you'll see me, I decided to use a different stamp, but I stamped that little background. I did this some butcher paper and made like wrapping paper. These are bags that I make, and so I decided to use that. But you can just tell that there's so much ink on these. And then I pulled the actual baby wipes off and then separated them and just wiped them on these watercolor papers. And like I mentioned, there's no wasted projects in the command center. So now everything's dry. I've washed my hands multiple times, even though they're still very inky, but at least I know that I'm hoping that they don't come off on my project. But I decided I'm going to cut apart the flowers, excuse me, and make it a 3D image. Excuse me. So I'm looking at the 3 different flowers, and I'm trying to decide which portions I'm going to be using for like a bottom or the base, and then what portions I'll be using for that second layer, and then the third. So right now I'm just fussy cutting out those different second and third layers of the flower. And what I decided, or how I chose, is I did the lighter image. I thought I was a little bit more solid for the base. And then I did a slightly darker one for that middle area, and then the darkest that I thought for just the top layer. Now, excuse me, when you're cutting out your layers, you want to include the entire area. So even though I know that see that layer right there, the top layer is going to cover that middle layer, you still want to include all that. So before I actually assemble them, I decide to dry emboss the back of the base layer, and I am loving the way this card's looking already. So first of all, I get all that beautiful variation of ink from just those, the baby wipe technique. And then, I'm adding the dry embossing, which in my mind kind of reminds me of like a garden trellis or something, and that's why I chose that. I wasn't sure if I was doing that or the polka dots, because that's usually my fave. But I'm glad I just stuck with this one, and you'll see at the end, it just really looks so sophisticated. But I just added some foam tape between the layers, and then I just pile them on top of each other. Now for the leaves, there was an area on the base that was a little, didn't stamp solid, so that's why I kind of had a little sliver that I just glued straight on that right side. And then on the left side, I did 1 layer of leaf. I didn't want to do the triple layer. I thought those pieces were going to be too small. So that gold re-inker, I put it on the plate, added some water, and then just used a toothbrush and flicked some gold on the background. And then there's my go-to black splashes. And with all that, I thought, ooh, that would look great on a black cardstock or card base. So that's what I'm preparing right now. And even as I put it on there, I think, oh my God, it looks so pretty. The contrast is so pretty. I love it. And then, me, I'm just kind of adding, and I decide to add a ribbon on the bottom. That was just a scrap piece of ribbon that I had, and it was the absolute perfect size. And when I tied this ribbon, it took one try, and it was perfect. I don't know, that was, you can ask for anything better than that. Usually takes me a long time to tie a bow. But as I added that ribbon, I don't know why, I just thought, now the black didn't stand out so much. So I do decide to use this white card base instead. I hope you agree with my choice on that. I think it just makes the ribbon stand out a lot more. Did a little doodling around the leaves, nothing really major, but I thought it was just kind of cute. I didn't want to do it to the flower. I thought the flower was so pretty. I didn't want to start and then decide I hated it, and then I just ruined the entire thing. But I do add some flat back pearls, which I don't think I show, but you'll see at the end. But this probably is my favorite card so far in this Stamp-tember series that I'm doing. And that stamp was one that I was going to give away or donate. And I'm going to keep it because I need to continue to use it. I just love it. It's so pretty. The sentiment, I wasn't sure where I was going to put it. And then once I decided I was going to cover part of that leaf, you'll see me, and this is something you need to remember. Now, that leaf is one foam square up, right? So the half that is going to be on the card needs to have that foam adhesive as well. So you'll see me on one side, it's just flat regular adhesive, and then the other is the foam. And that's so it's even on the card. Oh, you can see the pearls there, I think. No, you can't. So I must have put them on later. But I do hope you like this. And if you do, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and click the information box because it'll give you a link to my blog address for all the information to make this card. Bye.